Hey, product bosses, Mina here. Do you know what is always a smart strategy for any product business, small or big? It's creating good, consistent content. That's why Jacqueline and I have created the course, A Year of Content. It helps product based businesses like you create easy, ongoing content that will help you make sales and make connections with your customers. This is crucial for building your short term and long term success for your product business. So go check it out. Again, that's ayearofcontent.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's super affordable. It's only $37. It has over 200 prompts, a content planning workbook, and video lessons to show you how to easily create content for your product and for your business. We'll see you in there. Okay, so let's get started on today's episode. Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Mina Kunlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my fabulous co-host, Mina Kunlo-Sitep. Hey, Mina.
Hey, Jacqueline.
So today's episode, we felt really strongly about digging into the idea of video and how you can build your confidence on video, right? This is such a big topic in our community and amongst our students, and power of video is just multiplied right now with the state of the world. I mean, in general, video is really important, but right now, especially, video is almost essential.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, when we are thinking about being a small business and trying to cut through all the clutter and all the getting people to stop their feet and go to you out of like the big guys and all the competition and all the things, video is really the way that you can bring your true brand to life in the shortest amount of time.
Right. And this is the time to lean into it. We're seeing a lot more people in front of their screens and consuming content visually than even listening. So thank you for showing up and listening to the podcast. But video is the way. And if you guys think about the last video you watched or the last ad you saw on social that you kind of stopped and watched, or someone's stories, video is really powerful. And we want to help give you that confidence and that courage to show up for your customers and for your community and really lean into video.
Yeah, I mean, people right now in all this uncertainty, they really want realness right now. And ain't nothing like video for realness. You know, you can't, I mean, sure, you can edit, but when you're live, people tend to even like it when mishaps happen or they see somebody be vulnerable or they hear certain stories. They can really cut through if somebody's being authentic or not. And I think that that's what really draws people in right now.
Absolutely. Well, first, I'd like to thank all of you that have recently left us a review on Apple Podcasts. It is really important and essential for our business, especially in times like these where we're trying to reach more product-based business owners and really support them through the days ahead. So thank you for leaving those reviews. And if you have not yet, please pause this podcast really quickly, head on over and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more people. So I'd like to thank Christy Lee of Iron and Pearl. They make amazing candles. And this is what she left us on the reviews. Should just subscribe and listen. Perfect for a product-based business. I love the Product Boss podcast and courses. They are packed full of actionable tips, plans, and useful information. I love that there is no fluff or time wasting. They dig in and get you thinking like a real entrepreneur, teaching you how to do all the things to grow your business no matter where you are at. I'm so grateful to have found such a fun pair of mentors to listen to. They truly care about you and your business. Thank you, Christy Lee, and shout out to Iron and Pearl.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christy Lee. We love seeing you in the lives and seeing you in our programs, and we really do genuinely care about our community. So I'm glad she gave us that shout out. That feels really good. Thank you.
Yeah, and the irony of this whole thing, or the iron and pearl irony. We weren't planning on, we go through the reviews and we decided that this was one, and we actually had to look it up and see if it was the same Christy Lee that is in our community, because she says she's in the courses and it's iron and pearl. So I think it's kind of fitting because we had picked it out before we knew who it was. And it's really fitting because I don't know if you remember the story, Mina, but Mina talked about how she had to take a shot of whiskey, right? Before he
Mhm.
would do public speaking.
Right. Public speaking in that I was getting on a stage, and this was more than a decade. Well, who am I kidding? It was like so long ago, like
Yesterday.
15 years
No.
ago. But I felt silly actually telling that story, and I almost edited it out. And so I'm glad I kept it in there because that was something that a couple people have mentioned from the last episode, that they were like, well, if Mina had to take a shot, I can do it too. Right.
Right. So it really resonated. And what's interesting is I've been going live on our Instagram almost every day over the past few weeks and showing up and really just trying to coach our community. Now, one thing that happened by mistake a few times ago was somebody on accident requested to go live with me on Instagram. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, I didn't know that this did this. And she was showing me. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, you're on with me. So tell me about your business. Tell me about your candles. Cause she showed me that she was making candles and she was shipping. We'll cut to a few times later. Now people are showing up and they're sharing the screen with me and they're going live on Instagram with me, which is really uncomfortable. I know for a lot of you, you will comment. It is uncomfortable. And Christy Lee said that she would go live with me. And she goes on and she's like, I'm really uncomfortable. I didn't really mean to do this. Like, well, I'm really proud of you. And then she shows me that she's like, I'm pulling Amina. And she poured herself a glass of wine. I swear to God, it was like 2 p.m.
I love it.
I loved it. I was like, I love her. I love it. Iron and Pearl. She's really been a really fantastic person in our community and really encouraging to people. And so it's fitting to this episode, which we had not planned, that Christy Lee, who got her wine, did her first live with us, found
Mhm.
that confidence, even if it had a little bit of liquid courage, and her coach kind of coaching her through it. And that's what we're going to dig into here. So whether you guys need wine, a shot of whiskey, or just the note, having our voices in your head, we're going to help you work through how to build your confidence while using video.
Yes, I really want you guys to work on video in the next 60 days, let's say. Work on some portion of your strategy being on video. Because just think, even if you do video 10, 20, 30 times in the next 60 days, how much better you'll be just from the practice that you put in.
Absolutely. And you would think we often talk about that, I'm an extrovert, Mina's an introvert, and you guys would think that I was meant, video was my thing. Well, no. I still, my husband is an actor and he gets in front of a camera. Me, no way. But the more I've done it, the more confident I am in speaking about what I feel secure about. If you ask me to get up and talk about something I have no idea about, no way. But the things I feel secure about, sure, I can get up and talk about it. I can get in front of a camera now. So introvert, extrovert, whatever it is, it's about, like Mina said, repetition, showing up, starting to do it, and really building that confidence, and it'll get you really far.
Yeah, it's really pushing through the discomfort too, because you know that you have to do it. I have a really funny story too. So last night I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go live. I'll go live on our Facebook, the Product Boss Facebook group or Facebook page, right? The like page, the business page. And I thought I'll just go on for a few minutes to talk to them. So I go on there, and this is one of the few times that I've gone on without Jacqueline, but I've been really intentional about getting better at video. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. Jacqueline will be so proud. I can do this. So I go on and I'm talking. I'm like, hi, Amina, the Product Boss podcast, blah, blah, blah. Then my dad jumps on. I was like, oh, hi, Dad, thinking nothing of it because he does like the podcast. Then I see all these personal people popping on. Then I panic, hit the delete or hit the stop button, and then sat there like, oh my gosh, I realized I had gone onto my personal timeline and was talking to all the people. And so I was like so flustered. And at that time, so many things were going through my head. First, I was mortified. I was like this with, if you can see me on the video, my head, like my hands are on my head being like, oh my gosh. And then I go back on there, I delete the video, I sit for a minute and I was like, okay, so many things. I thought, oh, I could take a shower when I feel better. I could ask Jacqueline, she wants to hop on with me. I could just go on Instagram Live instead because we get a lot of engagement on there. I just felt so flustered and so mortified. Then I was like, okay, it's fine. Live through the discomfort like you've been telling everybody else to do it and just do it. So, what did I do? Right then, I made myself go onto the real page, Product Boss Facebook uh, uh, business page and did my live. And it was fine. And then I was like mortified at the beginning telling a story. And a lot of people were like, oh, it happens to the best of us. Or they're like, you're doing great, Mina, or whatever, because they could feel they were actually quite proud of me. And then after that, I even went on Instagram Live and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, so proud of you for sticking with it, right? Because even as entrepreneurs, we've all done things that have made us uncomfortable. Even in the very beginning, we learned how to, you know, we figured out how to put together a product. And that in itself was uncomfortable, you know.
Mhm.
So this is one of those things. And I'm glad that I did it. I was mortified. I still am a little bit mortified even telling the story, but I did it and it's fine. It's out there. And that, oh yeah. And then during that time, here's the funny thing is that somebody messaged me, one of my personal hometown friends, and she was like, Mina, I tried to watch your video, but I can't find it. It keeps saying it was deleted.
You're like, because it
And
was deleted immediately.
And I was like, and this is somebody I haven't talked to in forever, but she grew up with me. She's way younger than me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I accidentally went on the wrong page and I deleted it because I was talking about how to get used to your new normal. And she's like, oh, I would have listened to it. I was down to listen to it. So turns out that, and then she asked me for our podcast and I gave that to her. So that mistake might have changed her life.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows if she was, yeah. So, and that's the thing, right? So it's interesting. Some of us are more confident in front of people we know, and some of us are not, right? Like you're mortified because you got in front of people you actually know.
Yeah. Talking about all kinds of stuff.
Tell you what I did with my mom.
Uh,
I was on an Instagram live. See, Mina and I, when we do these things without each other, we have no idea the stories. So we were on Instagram live and my mom was actually watching. And so she was commenting and I was like, Mom, I'm going to bring you on live with me
oh my gosh. When was this?
a few nights ago.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I have like, you guys get on live with me. It's real fun. Uh, so I was like, I'm going to bring you on. And I submitted and she had no idea what was happening. And then she's like fixing her hair while she's like on with me. And then I kind of interviewed her a little bit. And my mom is definitely an introvert. She's
Oh,
also the kind
yeah.
of person that's like, um, seen, not heard. She was raised in a very
Mhm.
traditional household, but she loves to be behind her product. And I even realized that a lot of my friends also have been slightly more introverted, right? And sometimes it takes somebody to pull it out of you. So we're going to go through a couple tips on
Mhm.
ways in which you can feel more confident, how you can show up and really really find that person who can pull it out of you, which by the way could be me. So if you guys see me on
Mhm.
an Instagram live, request to join and I will support you through it. And that's one of the things that because I'm more confident, it's like, hey, so what's your name? Tell us about your product. Can we see it? And I get you guys talking about it because that's just one of the first things, the easiest thing. The thing that's the easiest thing for you guys to do is show me your product and talk about it. I'll bet you can talk about your product all day, every day. And that's probably one of the easiest things to do because you feel confident in it. We're not asking you to talk about the new normal or create content like we do because we're podcasters, but really just show up and talk about something you are confident in, and that might be your product.
Yeah. So that's a really good tip is have somebody who could be a good counterpart to you. I
Mm-hmm.
think that one thing that Jacqueline does super well is that she'll not only bring you on to talk with her, but if you get flustered, she can fill in the gaps. I really feel like people might get stopped up because they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to answer that question.
Right.
But she will not leave you hanging. I think that that's a really important part of being with the right interviewer or being just having a conversation with a friend, for instance, is that you don't feel like stuck in your words, and then this awkward silence or whatever.
But even if you have the awkward silence, I think that's the thing I want you guys to realize that it's okay.
Mhm.
we'll go live. I'll forget words. I'll forget, so-and-so's name. And then I'm like, what's that person's name? And then like, let me know in the comments. And then it creates engagement. I literally have forgotten the name, but you are helping me out. And then it kind of starts to turn into a real conversation. Whether there's one person and you act like you're speaking to that person directly. I always kind of act as if I'm talking to one person, as if it's a conversation typically I'm having by myself. So one of our students in our community had asked, well, I don't know, I get flustered, kind of exactly what you were saying. So it's like,
Mhm.
why don't you start with your husband behind the camera? And you guys pre-write down like the questions that you want to answer and have him hold the phone pointed at you with your products and let him ask you the question.
Uh-huh.
What's your best-selling product? And then she could easily answer back and she gets used to speaking to someone. And the more she does that, then she will get more confident.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is easier just to imagine that you're just having a conversation, and if, even if it isn't without or if it's your husband's there or he's not there, even if it's somebody who's just there, even like your kid, and they're holding the camera, it even is a little bit easier. I've had my daughter do that for me as well. My husband, he I speak to him differently than I speak to my kid, for instance. And so I don't know. I think there's a different dynamic with everybody you're on with.
Right.
And so, as long as that person is the type of person that you're speaking to, because your husband might not be your avatar, for instance, right?
Right.
So, it might
You
be
might be
hard to,
annoyed in the way he's asking you a question.
yeah, or being like, "You don't know this about my product," you know?
But I would say being prepared, right? So confidence is
Mhm.
being prepared. So, in the survival kit bundle that we had launched, we have a video scripts in there. And the whole reason we have a video scripts is we know that sometimes just that idea of being prepared, knowing like the path in which you're going to speak, that you have confidence because you know where you're going. So
Yeah.
I would say another tip also would be then if anything, you could write little post-its to yourself and have
Mhm.
your post-its kind of in front of you. And you can even, I don't care. I swipe up when I'm on lives, I'll swipe up and like get rid of notifications. It's okay if my hand's coming to the screen. But when you're doing stuff, you could have post-its in front of you and be like, answer these 3 questions and look at them,
Uh-huh.
be like, what's my bestseller? How much is my bestseller? Why do people love it? And I'm
Right.
sure you guys can speak to that.
I actually showed my Post-it note the other day when I
You
did a
did?
live. Yeah, because I was talking about video scripts, and I was saying you guys can just mad lib it by putting, into our video scripts course what your business and everything is. That's a great place to start. But as you get more seasoned and you're talking on screen or whatever it is, sometimes you only need a Post-it note. And I said, now I only need a Post-it note. And I showed my actual Post-it note of like the 4 things I wanted to make sure I talked about.
Mm,
And so that was more of a loose format. I do think that it is crucial, whether or not you're introvert or extrovert, that you come prepared.
yes.
Because even the most extroverted people I know, um, in order for them to connect with their audience, they have to have some sort of uh, path they're going down
Yeah.
you know and so even like one of the people that's super extroverted that I know is Jessica Stansberry, and she'll start saying a story and then she'll kind of divert and kind of come back to it, and then she'll pause herself and she'll say, hold on, I want to make sure I get this out in the proper sentence. So even she prepares her notes and then at the end of it wraps it around like, this is actually what I'm talking about. So then that way there's a purpose to the video, and in the preparation you're kind of leading the breadcrumbs to that point,
Right.
educating somebody.
And Jessica and I are very similar. We're friends and we both think talk. So she was the first person that kind of shared that with me, that she has an idea and she think talks it out, and that's how she gets to the conclusion. And so I learn a lot from her also. And just I've never really found someone who maybe communicates in the same way that I do. And so how she brings it back to that anchor.
Hmm.
And I think that, and even for us, when we do lives, when we go on, we have pre-thought out content that we want to talk about. We have
Uh-huh.
kind of come, even if it's just like the top 3 reasons to do this, the top 3 ways to do that. We'll think about what we want to talk about. We'll write down the top 3 ways. But then Mina and I are very good at being able to just kind of, we'll pre-discuss it and then we can talk about it. We don't have to go off of scripts. I'm sure you guys listen to other podcasts that feel very scripted because they are more confident showing up with a script or with a teleprompter. So it really just depends on whatever is going to bring you that confidence, whatever you're most comfortable with, and you figure out what works for you. And honestly, sometimes I think in the beginning we were never really scripted, but we definitely ran through more of a outline.
Yeah, we're 1,000% scripted on our ads. So in that case, because ads are very unnatural, I think,
Our
to
video
both of us,
ads.
our video ads, right?
Yeah.
We literally script those and read them. And I think that we needed less of that on the podcast because we're able to just talk. Whereas this one was more like, an ad for a 1 minute video. It needed to be scripted in that way. So either way, I think being prepared just adds to that confidence, whether or not you're scripted or not. Us being able to keep it under 1 minute is really hard, for instance, unless we're scripted.
So another thing I want to tell you guys for confidence is it's going to go to how you look. So if we air this video, I am not looking my prettiest right now, but it's not saying I'm not going to air this video, right? Because I've decided that I'm going to show up for you, whether I've got my fake lashes on, full face of makeup and jewelry, or my hair is tied up in a bun and I'm wearing glasses and no makeup, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to show up always.
I feel like, though, I wasn't like that until I was confident in my videos I was producing. So
Yeah.
until I was able to feel like, oh, it's fine, people don't expect me to be done up, then I was able to obviously go on video all kinds of crazy mess, looking a mess these days. But I probably would never have started off that way.
No, and that's what I'm saying. So we try and model for you guys that really you'll see us, our hair is all done and we're looking great even during quarantine. And then you'll see us be like, oh, it's been a day for them.
It's been a
But for
day.
you guys, confidence is important. When I do these lives and I ask you guys to share a screen, I'll get comments back. Oh, I would, but I look like crap. Oh, I would, but I'm in my pajamas. P.S. Someone did go live with me in her pajamas and showed me her pajamas, even though she was so embarrassed. And she goes, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Because once I got her to go live with me in her pajamas, guess how easy it's going to be for her to go live in another way. So I think for confidence, I want you guys to make yourself feel confident, right? If it takes you putting on a face of makeup and flat ironing your hair or blow drying or doing something, right? I think it's important that you guys first, like Mina said, when you first start to show up, that you feel that the way that you look makes you feel confident. The same way that if you're going to go to a cocktail party or, your husband's work party or your wife's work party and you're like, I'm going to show up in front of all these people, you kind of pull it together. I don't think that you always have to be this way. And it depends on what you're doing, right? Like Mina and I in ads will never show up looking
No, good
tore up
grief.
because
No.
it's usually a cold audience, right? It's people who don't know us. So we're putting our best foot forward. The longer you get to know us, and when we're hanging out on social, there's another thing. So I think confidence is going to come with how you look, making sure that you feel prepared and whatever your background is, and you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. The other thing too, and we kind of said this, and one of the ways to build confidence is to simply have a partner. And that doesn't mean that it's a partner that you're always on screen with, which we talked about before. But I think that if you have a partner that's working on the same things, let's say it's an accountability partner or a video accountability partner, that is a really good thing to have if you happen to have a biz friend that could comment on your videos, or could you say, hey, I did it, I pushed through and I was able to do this video even though it's uncomfortable. That's super helpful.
When Mina and I first met, I think in that first year, we both signed up for a YouTube boot camp together.
And I'm sorry to say that we do not have we
We're
didn't
not
do well
YouTube
at that.
stars.
Yeah, we did not do well at that YouTube boot camp, but we learned
But
something.
we learned something. And we learned about batching and we learned about, lighting and all those things. So I don't think you guys need to go out and buy a ring light. If you do, great. Stand in front of natural light. Have a window coming through. Make sure that there's good lighting. Make sure that when you look at yourself in the camera, you're okay with it. It kind of goes back to, for those of you who remember answering machines, when you could hear yourself back on an answering machine.
Oh, and you hated the way you sounded on an answering
Hated.
machine.
Cut to, you and I are podcasters now. but hated the way I sounded and was embarrassed. But I'm like, I sound like that.
I always
So
thought I sound so uneducated. Like, literally, that's what I
like
thought.
literally.
Like, you know.
And I thought I said like literally too much. So it's the same idea, right? It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have
Mhm.
everything as perfect. The lighting's not always going to be whatever, but it's okay. And that goes to like our done is better than perfect. We rather you guys just churn out content, do more of it, get comfortable. It's not none of this is we're not putting you up for an Academy Award, right? None of it matters. In the
Yeah.
grand scheme of life, really none of it matters. What matters is that you show up, you build your confidence, and you do more of it. Because if you have 2 people watch the first time and eventually it's 200 people, amazing. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? We really the thing I want you guys to be doing here is thinking of it as practice. You're practicing. You're never going to come out of the gate being perfect. It just doesn't happen. It's like saying, "Oh, if you don't make 25 free throws in a row with, swooshing it, then you should just quit." That's
Yeah.
literally the same as saying, "Oh, if I don't do it perfect, then I can't do it at all."
Yeah, Michael Jordan. I love that I'm doing a Michael Jordan reference, but my neighbor's playing basketball and I can hear it. But Michael Jordan was not Michael Jordan the first time he picked up a ball,
Mhm.
right? So it's the same idea for you guys. It's not we're not we are not making the next YouTube video star. This is not, this is not what we're doing here. This is the ability for you to show up and just show more than your eye and your ear. This is the
Mhm.
ability for you to get on video and speak confidently about your product no matter what you're using it for, whether you are doing a YouTube channel, whether you're doing a live, whether you're doing an IGTV, whether you're doing a Facebook live, Instagram stories, right?
Mhm.
All of these things, all of these places that video is so important for your brand. It's it's you. You're the person. You're the best person to sell your product.
Right. Another tip that I have for those who are starting out that want to gain confidence is that you don't start off just you start off with watching other people's videos as well. So you get the full scope of people who are terrible at video and still showing up, and people that are really, really great, which is probably what you've all only been seeing. And I want you guys to realize that there's people out there that they literally are not the greatest at video and they're still showing up and they're memorable, you know? And so if they can do it, you certainly can be middle range. Start seeing what you like to do and what you like watching and kind of get into that mode of feeling inspired by those people that are showing up regardless.
Can I tell you that that's how I feel about gray hair right now?
What?
So, in normal times, everyone's looking beautiful, right? Everyone's hair is the darkest of dark with not a single gray, or the blondest of blonde with not a single gray. And now, because we're recording this during the time of, most hair salons are not open, um, people have their roots. And
Mhm,
I'm like, they're still showing up. They're still recording videos. They're still taking photos of themselves. And I get to compare my grays to their grays and be like, I used to think my grays were really bad. And then I'm looking at other people that I'm like, oh, they've got even more grays. Because no one ever shows, people don't show the bad stuff necessarily, right? Or they don't show the real stuff.
mhm.
The idea of quarantine has really allowed people to see the real stuff. We get to see inside of Jimmy Fallon's amazing
Yeah, they
basement.
don't live as fancy as houses or fancy of lives as I expected, quite honestly.
Yeah, or you get to see Meryl Streep's couch,
Uh-huh.
or there's things that we've been able to see Daniel Radcliffe's couch. I saw it today because there's like
Mhm.
a Harry Potter thing they're doing, and there's nothing behind his couch. I'm like, he looks like a kid in a college dorm. I don't know if he's in his basement or where he found this couch.
Uh-huh.
So we're kind of getting to see the real behind the scenes of real life. We're really connecting with people as people. And I want you guys to think about that with video too, right? All of these people, Saturday Night Live created Saturday Night Live from Zoom calls in their
Mhm.
houses. I know New York City. You could be making millions of dollars and still live in a crummy apartment in New York City, right? And you get to
Yep.
see it on Zoom. So that's that idea of you don't always see the worst videos, but people are just showing up and doing videos anyways, and that's what we want you to do. Show up and do the video anyways.
Mhm. So another good tip, introvert, extrovert, and I think this is really especially important for introverts, is that keep it short. Like, you don't need to go on and do a 5, 10, 15-minute video. A 1 to 3 minute video is just fine if that's all you can handle at first. And that's all you can
I
do
agree.
forever.
Yeah. 1 minute's hard, guys. You try and speak for 1 minute, and all of a sudden you'll be like, I've just hit 3 minutes. So, places that you can show up, right? So, your feed on Instagram could be a 1 minute video, and it does get a lot of interaction. People can sit for a minute. If
I
you
probably could go
do,
a minute without you.
you could go 5 minutes without me.
One
Get you
minute.
going. But stories, I think Instagram mainly is only allowing like in stories like 1 minute before it cuts it for you into 4 15 seconds,
Uh-huh.
and then it cuts it. But that's 1 minute. In your feed, you could record 60 seconds. If you want to do anything longer, it could be an IGTV and it shows the first 60 seconds. But people really don't want to spend more than 2 to 3 minutes with you,
Yeah.
really, as you're
Mhm.
like, that's about as far as you need to go with like, this is my bestseller and this is why people love it. And we make it here and this is how you buy it.
Mhm.
That's it. And you're done.
And then 50 minutes later, Jacqueline's still talking. No, just kidding.
And then 50 minutes later, I'm pulling you on live with me.
No, I think it's so great. One of the I like that you said, this is our bestseller and this is why people love it. So it's like a purpose to it, but at the same time, it's so short and there's a reason why you got onto video, you
This
know.
is why this is my bestseller. These are the 3 reasons people love it. This is how you buy it. That's all you guys
Mhm.
have to do.
Mhm.
Constantly, just your bestseller, your product, your best smelling this, your most popular. We've just come out of bestseller secrets challenge and it's that simple. So I love that you're saying that it doesn't have to be long. 60 seconds. You guys can do anything for 60 seconds. I could probably hold a plank for 60 seconds.
Challenge.
Challenge accepted. Probably not.
So, another really good tip, and Jacqueline is a pro at this, and I've really focused on doing this too, and it's really helped my introvert ways, is to have a spectacular intro. So, I basically just copy everything that Jacqueline says. This is why she does the intro for us, but she'll say, hey, if you're new to us at the Product Boss Podcast, I'm Jacqueline. This is Mina, and we're of the product. I can't remember exactly what it is.
I always just welcome people and introduce ourselves as if we were the first time we were meeting. We
Mm-hmm.
just reinforce, hey, it's Jacqueline and Mina of the Product Boss Podcast, and today we're going to talk about this.
And I think that's so hard for me to remember because I think, oh my gosh, here's my 3 bullets that I want to talk about. And I forget to put in the very beginning my introduction, even if it's a reintroduction. So I think that that's a really good thing to remember. And the nice thing that the reason why I used to forget is because you would always do it,
Oh,
and
mhm.
like when somebody pulls you onto like an interview or something, they intro you. So when I was by myself, I'm like, okay, don't forget, they don't know who you are probably. And then I'll say, I'll kind of get flustered and I'll be like, I think last night I was like, hi, and my name is Mina.
Here's my hello, my name is sticker.
Yes. Yes,
But that's
literally.
okay. She didn't
Yeah.
delete that video, guys. She did it. So
Okay.
it's interesting because part of the reason, so my roadblock, just so you guys can hear, because I know Mina's saying I'm great on video, but part of the reason I don't have a quote unquote YouTube channel is that I don't know how to intro myself for YouTube. Because on YouTube, a lot of times they tell you to say the question first and then introduce yourself. So have you ever wondered how you could build confidence on video? A lot of times blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I'm Jacqueline and I am the host of the Product Boss podcast. That kind of script, that's the thing that gets me tied up, right? The set. And so I've written myself scripts, especially when I do video. Especially when I do video that I'm not as confident about or it's not me coaching, but I'm really trying to get to a point. I find my script and then I do it and we use apps we use Big View TV. I think you have to pay for it, but we use Big View TV. It's BIGVU TV dot TV.
.tv, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And you pay for it, but it's an app that's like a little teleprompter app and you can use your phone and you can shoot it and you can change the speed in which you're reading from. And that I think was a game changer for Mina and I, especially when we had to do these like really concise videos that needed to go through a story arc and have an end. That's not true
Hmm.
for you guys. You don't have to do it that way, but that's a tool
Yeah.
that we use.
Yeah, and I don't recommend starting with those. I think that that is the way to make you get focused on being perfect,
Right.
is the fact that you think that it needs to be a certain way when it doesn't. You know, you can literally just hop into it and be like, "Hi, I'm Mina and I own Little Labels, and today I want to show you guys my bestseller." Even if it's that like blah to start with, that's my practice round. You know, so just start doing it, and I think that that will be really, really helpful. Another thing that you guys can do that is a really good tip for confidence is to anchor on a story. So, you guys heard the stories of all the, flubbering around I did yesterday
Or
on
liquor
my
drinking.
liquor drinking. I've worked my way up to this point, you
Yeah.
know. So, I think that when you anchor to a story, it's just easy to tell a story.
Mhm.
Sometimes, because sometimes it goes, a million different directions. But if there's a point to that story and you know that that's how you're going to start it off, I think that's a great way to have a video that's easy to remember, right? That you don't have, you have a certain bullets and you tell this story, and then there's a, call to action at the end.
Right. And that call to action is so important, you guys. Don't leave. It's the same with it's really in your emails, everything. You always want to have a call to action. You always want to give someone direction on what to do next. Follow me, double tap, like, share, go here to buy, right? So don't forget that call to action. It's super, super important.
hmm So, another thing too, and this is something that actually behind the scenes a little bit, Jacqueline is the one who comes up with the titles for the most part for our podcast episodes. And I think that that's important for if you decide to do a longer form video, what you decide to name it. So, um, that something in working your way backwards from that. So, we actually decide our podcast name before we record it, our podcast title. And that is a way of being prepared and being able to talk off a certain thing and being on a path is by having the title first before you go into making the video.
Yeah. So we'll typically come up with the content. So the content is pre thought of. Mina, we should talk about video. Yes,
Mhm,
absolutely. We should talk about video. This is like the number one thing. Great. Okay, let's do an episode on video. What do we need to teach them about video? Great. Now, then we then say, what's it going to be called? What's the title? And that's how you guys will hear us intro it. And the title has to be that hook, right? It's like that email subject line. It's
mhm,
something that makes somebody want to click, listen, open, that kind of thing. Same with video, honestly. Video is either going to be about the subject line or like that first image. That's why you'll see people use different thumbnails that's going to be the thing that pulls somebody in. And that thumbnail either has text on it, like the subject that we're talking about, or something that really makes them stop the scroll.
mhm. And another thing too is I was on the live the other day and somebody was like, "Well, I haven't done it because I need to figure out how to do subtitles." Now, yes, subtitles are amazing. They're wonderful. They're great, but they're not crucial or necessary, or you can absolutely post a video without subtitles 100%. So if that's the thing that's stopping you, don't let it be the thing that stops you. Just start doing videos and then you work your way up to doing subtitles or captions or whatever it is that you want to do.
I mean, I would say that for anything.
hmm
Like, don't let that, whatever that is for you that you're saying right now, the reason why you're not doing videos, don't let that be the reason you don't do videos. So I think Mina and I didn't become YouTube famous because one of the things we were taught was that we had to batch how many videos in a day?
12.
12 videos. We're moms of young kids. I mean, they were even younger. They were like, what, two?
Oh my gosh.
Young.
Super young.
The types of videos that we were supposed to come up with content with and create and batch and stuff, just it wasn't the 12 videos was a lot for us, right? So it kind of put a stop to it. Probably if we were giving ourselves advice back then to baby Jacqueline and baby Mina, it would have been like, don't worry about the 12. Do one and get it posted
hmm
onto YouTube, right? If we had done the one and gone through the process, but we got stuck at the 12.
You know what advice I would give myself back then though for the batching? So she told us to do 12 and to do different things that might be like keywords for that thing, right? So
Right.
I felt like I had to be prepared for all the things. But really the advice I would give myself is to do one and then to do variations of that one. So if it is my one was going to be frequently asked questions, I would just break it down. Number one question I'm getting, or number one question I'm getting about the bestseller, or number one question I'm getting about the season, or number one question I'm getting about how to use it if you're on the go,
I love
like
that.
variations of that. But I was thinking I had to do all these, you know, super produced videos about all these different topics that might be good SEO. And that's what stopped me in my tracks, was all of that. When I could have just done one and done, just practice that one in different ways.
Versions. Yes.
Mhm.
Agreed. So that is our advice to you guys. Don't get stuck. Like, just even if every time you make a video, exactly like Mina's saying, it's kind of the same conversation. You're always going to talk about the number one question I'm getting about, and you go through your product collection, do
Mhm.
that. If it's about subtitles, who cares about the subtitles? As soon as you figure out how to get it posted and you start to see people are watching or getting views, you're like, that wasn't so bad. There's all these steps you're going to work through. Oh, I shouldn't film it like this because of the ratio. It's
Mhm.
okay. You'll see me post. I post ones that the ratio is off. I post stories when it's actually
I
horizontal.
posted
It's
ones
okay.
with my head cut off of the top.
So when you hear our voices in your head, because I've gotten some messages from you all telling us that you'll hear our voices in your head saying, just do it, or done is better than perfect. I want you to remember, done is better than perfect. Jacqueline and Mina, extrovert versus introvert, doesn't matter. We're still just kind of pushing through the discomfort. And I want you guys not to get stopped, even if it's like my background's not perfect or my lighting's not perfect or whatever. It's okay. The
Yeah.
more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with doing it.
Yeah, the more confident. And I think that probably Jacqueline has less of a discomfort to push through, but that she comes just as prepared as I do. So that's what I want you guys to remember, is that we both come prepared in our different ways, and we both push through the discomfort. We both hit publish and hit live. We don't hardly ever delete anything, even with, what we're looking really terrible. And we just do it, and then we just keep doing it. So when you're talking about something, you guys will hear us talk about the same things over and over. This whole entire week, you heard us talk about truths and untruths. You hear us talk about the content and how that's super important, and the 3 C's. You hear us talk about why it's so important to have a community. We pretty much talk about all the same things, so over and over in different ways. So I think that's what you have to do, is just start with something that you feel confident talking about, and then uh, pivot a little bit away from it, vary it up a tiny, tiny bit, and talk about it again in a different way.
And again, I think another big thing, and this is for me, is I remember listening to someone, and them being like, don't be a talking head. Talking head is when it's just like you, the head, speaking to the camera, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, and it overwhelmed me to think like, oh, I need to edit. I have to have different shots.
I
Who's
have
going to
to have
film?
music.
Yeah, who's going to film this? Well, how do you shoot my hands doing something and then cut back to my face? Like, this is all husband stuff, which I don't do with my husband because I'm very much a quick start. And if I'm like, I'm going to do video, I look good, I'm done talking to Mina, I'm going to jump in and do 3 videos. I can do that. That's my superpower. But the talking head part, I'm not the editing, the multiple shots. That's just not the video I'm going to do. And it's okay, because the
Mhm.
videos I do are going to be the videos I do. And you guys are going to like it or not like it, but I'm doing it. And I'm going to capture the people that watch the videos, and I'm going to capture the people who listen and the people that read the quotes we put up and all the different things. So, um, we just want to express to you that I know probably a lot of you are like, just getting your face on camera is going to be the hardest thing.
Mhm.
So if you start with your hands and you're speaking, but we want you guys, the confidence part, the part that we really want to bring to you is that we want you to step into this role of the face of your brand right now,
Yeah.
kind of more than ever.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be the most uncomfortable. I have to say it's the easiest after you get it, dip your toe in, though,
Yeah.
because of the editing, right? It takes so much time to think, oh, I need to splice in some subtitles, or I need to have an intro graphic or outro graphic, all the things. But when you just decide to dip your toe into being a talking head, quote unquote, then it is easier, because it's the path of least resistance.
Resistance.
Yeah, because otherwise, I also think that time lapse is pretty easy, though. That's another easy one.
Time lapse is so easy. And
Uh-huh.
if you guys are in our survival kit course bundle and you have gotten the video scripts, I actually share a few time lapse with you. You know, when we in our video course, we definitely talk about that. Pay attention, you know, to what other people are doing. Do it.
Mhm.
I do should we kind of wrap this with some tools that we like or
Yeah, sure.
some
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
one thing that I don't know if you guys know, but for Facebook on a Facebook Live, we found this out in more of recent days. You can actually add to going to subtitles. You can add subtitles titles through the Facebook portal. So when you've recorded something on Facebook, like a Facebook Live, once you've recorded and you hit end and you post it, you could then go in and edit the Facebook Live. And there's actually a place for subtitles where you can actually
Yeah, you click on the
have
little
subtitles.
pencil icon. It's not intuitive, but it does pretty good. It's not
Yeah.
intuitive to how to do it, but you just click on the pencil icon. So just do that. Also, so last night, the reason why I accidentally went into the wrong Facebook Live was because they're switching their dashboard. And
Yeah.
I even put this thing where I didn't know how to go live. And then it said, would you like to revert back to the old dashboard? And I put yes. And it makes you put a reason. I said, because I'm so confused. That's literally what I put.
Because my
Then
dad was on my live.
no, this was before
Yeah.
when I was trying to get online. So then I click and it takes me to the old dashboard. I was like, oh, yeah, this is what I usually typically see. Then I end up getting on the wrong timeline. So what did I have to do? I actually, when Jacqueline and I go on lives, we use Zoom. We pay for this webinar one that's kind of a little bit more expensive. And then it goes live onto Facebook, the Facebook page. You guys don't need that because it's only one person, but we need that since it's two. But since that's the only way I knew how to do it, and I taught myself how to do it with you, then I was like, okay, well, now I actually went through the whole thing without you. Like I went through Zoom, connected to the Facebook group and our Facebook page and did it that way because I was so used to it. And even though there was only one person, it's usually meant for two or more people, you know?
Right.
So just go with what you already know and what's easiest for you is what I want to say here.
Your cell phone in your pocket, the camera on your computer, use those as your
Your
tools.
microphone that's on your phone, you don't need fancy stuff at all, you know?
You guys will see us with our headphones in our ears. Like we have lavalier mics. We have all the stuff that you kind of need to be super professional, but we'll do video and post it with mics in our ears. When we do our videos for our courses, we have our headphones in our ears. So all of this, we want you to just work with what you have. So we use what else have you used since we talked about subtitles?
One of the ones that I like to use is this app called InShot, INSHOT, and that lets you add not automatic subtitles, but you can add your own text. And so that's what I've used sometimes to add like our website or quote unquote, I'm using air quotes of subtitles, but it's really just text that I'm adding onto there that gives the gist of what we're talking about. You know, it's
Yeah.
actually not lined up with our lips.
I've used Clipscribe. It's a newer app. It's slightly clunky, but I've used that to
Uh-huh.
sort of reposition the way that the camera looks and to put text on it. Again, this is kind of the stage 2 or 3 for you guys, but we just want to share a couple tools if some of you feel like you're there. I used Cut Story last night. So James he filmed something and he needed to position it he needed to edit in story format, the vertical format. He
Hmm.
needed to edit 2 videos together. And you can't do that on iMovie, which some of you might have on your iPhone. There's different video apps, but keeping it in the ratio that he needed it. So I told him, get on to Cut Story
Hmm.
and you can use it to edit. And it was like $1.99 to not have the watermark. And he put the 2 vertical videos together, clipped a little bit at the front, clipped a little bit at the end, and then processed. And he had his few-minute video.
Yeah, you can do that with InShot too. And it is hard to do certain things. Sometimes I'll just bring in a video to InShot just to make it a square or a rectangle or whatever, because sometimes that's the hardest thing. Sometimes I don't know
The
how to even
sizing.
turn it to, you know, like we'll accidentally record horizontally, but it's upright. I have to just flip it 90-degree left, and I don't know how to do that. So I use that app just to do something simple like that, you know? So
Mhm.
it's not innate to any of us, I feel like, but just play around with what apps that you really like. Another one that's online that does automatic subtitles is Headliner, and that's free if you go under 10 minutes.
Is it for video as well or just
Yeah, it is.
audio?
It's only for video, but you can
Okay.
do an audio where you put a static image and then that audiogram that's like the sound wave, and that's how I do that.
Right. So a couple other things are light. So we use a ring light or natural lighting,
Mm.
right? Just have good lighting. Have your products in front of you. I think a major tool you guys need are your products. Physically, do not forget your products if you're going to be talking about them, or your workshop. Are there any other tools that we really love for video? We're pretty
Um,
scrappy with video.
yeah, we are. I actually have a lazy arm that I really like because it prevents me from having to hold my camera. But Jacqueline only just props her camera or her phone up onto like whatever's there.
Whatever's
So
there. Or
yeah,
on
so not
my
necessary.
or on my ring light, sometimes I'll put it in the little arm there if I'm speaking to it. That's when
Mhm.
I'm getting real professional.
Yeah, even now my lighting is really good. I know you guys can't see me, but I actually don't love my ring light because it always calls my attention from my eyes. Or if I'm wearing those glasses like what you have on, it reflects off of there so you can see it. This is actually just a really 100-watt light bulb in what are those standing lamps?
A floor
Like
lamp.
yeah, a floor lamp. So it literally is just super easy. What is that like $10 plus $3 for the light bulb?
Yeah. The worst is sort of just like downlighting. So just light from your roof down onto you.
Yeah, so I moved it away from me, and I don't
Yeah.
actually have my downlight on.
Yeah. So I think those are some of the things that we would say you can do this simply with your own phone or your computer camera. You can use speak directly into the phone without a
So
headset
does
on.
iPhone do time lapse by on its own, right? Doesn't it have that feature?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't even use that. I actually record the video and then make it into a speedy time thingy on InShot. I really need to learn how to use my iPhone.
So we do a Christmas video every year and we do time lapse. So we prop our phone we prop our phone somewhere when we're decorating our Christmas tree with my in-laws. We hit record on the video thing as time lapse and we just let it go.
Oh, it's a
45
video
it's
thingy?
it's just your camera. So if you go to your camera tool,
Uh-huh.
your camera, and if you scroll all the way to
The right. Oh, I
the
see.
other
So it's
side
like how it
left,
says like portrait, video,
it's
blah,
time
blah.
lapse, slow mo, video, photo. Then it goes to portrait and panorama. So
Mhm.
go all the way to the left side, which I don't know which swipe right. I think you swipe right to get to the left, and
Uh-huh.
time lapse is there. Prop it, and you can do it one time speed, half speed. You guys can test it a couple times. 45 minutes turns out to literally be like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So it goes really fast. It could be a 15-second video and you could have been doing it for an hour. So I just want to let you guys all know that.
Yeah, one thing that I wanna try doing, and this is kind of like my secret goal, is I've been seeing people do a day in the life of, and I
Oh,
love them, but I don't want to piece together all that thing. So I was thinking I could do all the videos, time lapse that sucker together, do a few captions, and voila, I have a day in the life of Mina in like 5 minutes.
yes, let's talk about that because I mean, not on air, but because TikTok, it was like a day in the life vlog, like a vlog, but it was super fast. And
Uh,
for me, where I get caught up, guys, is the editing. If I have
um,
to piece things together, so I'm at the point now where I can write myself a script, read off the script, record it with good lighting and good sound, put subtitles on it and post it. If
mhm,
you're going to ask me to start clipping things together or adding little thought bubbles and things like that, that's where I check out. So I go as far as I can go and it's good enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
You find
um
what works for you.
You do, and, sometimes it's just, like, trying it out. Time lapse is really easy. I do think that people do I wanna also reiterate what Jacqueline had said before in that your ultimate goal for all of you guys that we want for you guys is to show your face. I think it's important during this time for people to know who the person is the, um behind the product. There's a lot of people that want to support local and they want to support small business. So, you putting your face to something is really something that will set you apart from everybody else.
Yeah. Which is why there will be spokespeople for certain brands like Flo from Progressive or, there's my kid went to preschool with her son, but she's the face, and they brought that face because we don't know who owns Progressive. They haven't stepped into it yet, but she is. And then they have her talk directly to you as if she's home and talking from her couch because like, and trust her. Now, you guys don't have a flow, so you guys are going to be that face. So friends, if you want to tag us in your videos and you're doing it on social, tag us. We want to be able to share it. We want to be able to be your confidence boost, applaud you, let you know that you're doing an amazing job. As always, Mina and I are in the DM on Instagram. So it's at The Product Boss. If you need a little confidence boost, we want to be there to support you. And we're so excited to see all that you do and really keep our voices in your head because we know you can do this.
Yes. Our voices are saying done is better than perfect. Post that
Absolutely.
video, do what you need to do to practice it.
All right. Good luck, friends.
Thanks, everybody. This episode is over, but it doesn't have to end. Head over to our Facebook group, search for the Product Boss Biz Community, or the link is also in the show notes. Come connect with other product bosses just like you. We'll see you in there.
If you love the Product Boss podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, share, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time, Product Bosses, let's make it happen.